Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Mobland Season 1, Episode 4, Rat Plan, or Rat Trap even. Anyway, what I got from this episode was basically how relationships can be kind of estranged to a degree. They can fall apart pretty quick, no matter how close you are to a person. If in this gangster world, if they think you're a rat, you double cross somebody, you've been taken from the top or stealing from the bottom, however you want to look at it, you can die. I mean, Conrad Harrigan's best friend Archie died in the first episode of this series, and we find Archie's dead body being uncovered by the cops because they know where he was buried. Now, only two people know exactly where Archie was buried, and that was Conrad and Harry. And Conrad doesn't want to believe that Harry is a rat or a grass. So he does some undercover investigation of his own by visiting Harry's wife. Now, Harry's wife has been seeing a therapist, and she's also become friends with this one woman who happens to be an undercover cop. Conrad doesn't realize this woman is an undercover cop, but still, he does know that Harry and his wife are going through a little bit of a turbulent time and doesn't want his wife leaving Harry, because if she does, then she can give away secrets. That's really the whole issue of it. And so, in a polite, strong-armed way, he made sure that Jan wouldn't leave Harry. Now, when Harry comes home, Jan tells Harry what happened regarding Conrad, and Harry himself is a bit scared, he's a bit spooked, and basically tells Jan, stop seeing your therapist, because shit's going to hit the fan. We don't want any leaks. I don't want people thinking that I'm a grass or a rat. And so that's regarding Jan and the therapist. And I think Jan is starting to really truly understand, the world that she's living in. I'm kind of surprised that she doesn't know until now, because that's fucking naive of her as far as I'm concerned. And by the way, Maeve, played by the excellent Helen Mirren, she is such a shit stirrer. For a start, she's still very proud of her grandson slaughtering the Stevenson boy, Tommy. And she doesn't care for Harry. She assumes that Harry's a rat. Once there's only two possibilities of who basically grasped to the police regarding where Archie's body was buried, and she's happy to get rid of Harry if she believes that he is a rat, whilst Conrad doesn't want to believe that he is a rat. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, Maeve, she has no loyalty to anybody but the immediate family. She doesn't care how loyal these other people like Harry are to them. She will happily dispose of them if it's to her benefit. So yeah, not very cool of Maeve, I may add. Now, Kevin and Harry, they're like brothers. Kevin Harrigan and Harry, but at the same time, they had a little bit of an issue too, because Harry did a job for Bella Harrigan, Kevin's estranged wife, and once he finished that job, it was regarding the Frenchman, he left her place, and as he was walking away, Harry comes to visit his wife, and they cross paths. Sorry, Kevin comes to visit his wife, and Harry and Kevin cross paths, and Harry kind of makes up a little story saying, "Oh, I just wanted to pay your wife a visit to tell her to get back with you." And when Kevin spoke to his wife, the story she got from her, was different, and so now Kevin doesn't know what to believe. Regardless, I think he might assume that Harry could be banging his wife, even though Harry's not. He just did a job for her, and Harry didn't want Kevin to know about that job. That was basically it. And probably telling Kevin the truth would have been a better move, but these guys are liars, so what do you expect? We'll see how that pans out in the future. I'm sure Kevin's going to start being suspicious of Harry. I mean, the Conrads are being very suspicious of Harry at this moment, even though they shouldn't. It just shows you, once again, how fragile relationships can be. And talking about fragile relationships, Richie Stevenson, he calls Harry over to his place to kill the man who he believes killed his son. Now, we all know it was Eddie who killed Tommy Stevenson, but this other bloke who's taken the fall, as we saw in the previous episode, he's taken the fall to save his family, and Richie Stevenson believes that this is the guy who killed his son, but he wants Tommy to kill this guy, and Tommy does. You know, Tommy doesn't hesitate, doesn't show any mercy or remorse for this guy, even though he didn't do the deed. Tommy just breaks a piece of wood and shanks the guy several times, just to prove to Richie that, look, I have no care for this dude, and I'm going to show it to you by the way I'm going to kill him. And Tommy did it. You know, he killed him in a brutal way to a degree, shanked him several times with a piece of wood. Yeah, it was fucked, but Richie bought it. Richie bought it so much so that to the relief of the Harrigan family, that he bought it, that he's inviting the Harrigans to his son's funeral, which will probably be next week's episode. So we'll see how that pans out. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that the Harrigans and the Stevensons were firing bullets at each other, and now he's expecting the Harrigans to come to his son's funeral. So yeah, craziness, but that's the gangster life, I guess. An interesting episode, because like 1 minute, you know, shit's hitting the fan, and you know, these need to be done and resolved, and then an investigation on where Tommy is, and now all of a sudden the Harrigans themselves are doubting Harry, which is crazy considering he's one of the best things they have. If anything, if they get rid of Harry, they pretty much would fall apart as an organization, because Harry is so vital to them. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm going to give episode 4 an 8 out of 10. I had a good time, and I do recommend people watch it. It's a great show. British gangster drama. Can't go wrong. Anyway, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.